Okay, so welcome. My name is Crystal Popoff. I first want to just say thank you. Thank you for being on tonight. We are so passionate about the information and education we're going to talk about tonight. I truly have seen, and I know, and you'll probably agree with me on this, is there's a health crisis going on right now in the United States. And I'm going to talk about a few factors that we believe is contributing to this health crisis and how we can actually take our health into our own hands. But the only way to do this is through people. And so thank you for those of you that are taking time out to learn about this, whether it's going to help you or help a loved one that'd like to improve something in their health. Or for those of you that invited people on the webinar, thank you for being our voices, for helping spread this mission. So I'm going to try to keep it to 30 minutes tonight, but I could talk all night long about some things that we can do, that we have control of in our health, that can literally change our country from being disease-stricken to being living long lives, but not long lives where we have no quality of life at the end. But we want you to live a long life where you have quality of life, where you feel good. And there's a few key things that I'll talk about tonight that's going to help you with that. So first of all, why do we do what we do? We have a mission to impact 1 billion lives. Yes, that's right, 1 billion lives. We are well on our way, by the way, to hitting that 1 billion. We're doing it through a lot of education, like what we're doing tonight. I believe there's two things that are contributing to the reason that right now in the United States, we are the sickest generation this country's ever seen. We have more people on prescription drugs than ever before, more prescription drugs, even in our kids, more people under the age of 18 that are on prescription drugs than ever before. In fact, the stat is 50%, 1 out of 2 people is on a prescription drug right now, and the average is 4. The average is 1 out of 2 people are taking an average of 4 prescription drugs every day. Now, I don't know if you know this, but our bodies are miraculous vehicles. Our bodies have the drive to heal. That's what our bodies do. Given a few items, given the right nutrients, given the right state of balance, our bodies can do miraculous things. So we want to talk to you about that tonight. But pharma is, I believe, number one. Now, I'm not against Western medicine. If I have strep throat, I am thankful for it, right? If I have a toothache, I am thankful for that Tylenol for a couple days until I can get into the dentist. However, we are taking these prescription drugs as a way to block symptoms. For example, if you have a headache and you take a Tylenol, that did not solve the problem of your headache. Our bodies are not Tylenol deficient, right? What the Tylenol did is just stopped us from feeling our headaches, but our headaches were caused by something. It could be dehydration, it could be malnourishment, it could be a misalignment in the spine, it could be something very serious. And we're just stopping our bodies from feeling the headache when really we should be looking at what's causing that. And we do that with every disease, every symptom out there. We just try not to feel it. And with what side effects? You know, the average athlete that has lived on ibuprofen for a long period of time, maybe they've never drank a sip of alcohol, but they have a liver like an alcoholic because they've been on ibuprofen so long. So yes, you may be masking symptoms, but at what cost to the body? So we want to talk tonight about natural plant-based healing. We're going to start in the gut with any health talk. If we talk about health, we've got to address gut health first. Our gut holds most of our immune system. We eat food daily. Especially in America, our diets are not that good. So number one contribution, I believe, to the health crisis we have today is that we just are treating symptoms. Number two is our food, is that we have never, our bodies are not built to eat so much processed and cooked foods. I want to tell you that I love food just like all of you. I had pizza yesterday, full disclosure. So I'm going to teach you some things that you don't have to be 100%, but it's going to help you in the long run. So when we talk about gut health, we have to first address and define what is an enzyme. Enzymes are in our body. Enzymes are actually in anything fresh and living. If you've never heard of the word enzyme, we have over 5,000 enzymes in our body that do all sorts of different functions. We have enzymes that blink our eyes, okay? So enzymes are alive in anything fresh and living, fruits, vegetables, plants, animals, humans. They're full of enzymes, living creatures. Now, the specific enzymes I want to talk about are our digestive enzymes. So we are all born with what I call a bank account of enzymes in our pancreas. Now, we're all born with a different bank account, and the enzymes in our pancreas are meant to break down food from different food groups. So for example, you eat a meal that's got a bunch of different stuff in it, right? It may have some carbs and some fats and some sugars and some proteins. You eat that meal, and your pancreas now has to release some enzymes. You also have enzymes prevalent in your saliva to help aid in the digestive process, to help break down that food to the smallest molecule so your body can actually extract nutrients from that food, number one, and number two, pass the rest, okay? So that's what our digestive enzymes do in our body. Now, if we eat fresh and living food, okay, not anything cooked, once you cook vegetables, once you cook food over 116 degrees, you now have cooked out the enzymes in that food. So if you eat a lot of raw foods, those foods contain the enzymes to help themselves break down. You eat raw carrots, your pancreas does very little work to break that down. Now you cook your carrots over 116 degrees, your pancreas now has to do more work to break down those carrots, okay? So whether you eat healthy or you don't eat healthy, your pancreas is being used if your food is cooked, okay? So how do we solve, so what's happening right now is the average 50-year-old has 40% less digestive enzymes than we started with when we were born, which means lots of us hit a point in our life where we lose the ability to fully break down a food group. And no idea what time in your life you're going to hit it. It not only depends on what you've eaten, it also depends on genetics. So if your parents ate a lot of fats in their diet, they probably had you probably have less enzymes that fully break down fats into fatty acids that are used by the body. So that's why we have kids who are gaining more weight now than their parents because they're young, but they don't have the ability to fully break down fats, right? Or sugars. We have babies being born lactose intolerant. They ran out the enzyme lactase that breaks down milk protein. Okay, so we have a bunch of different types of enzymes to break down those different kinds of food groups. Now, if you fully don't break down proteins, if you don't break down any food group, it starts to wreak havoc on your body over time. If you don't fully break down protein, it actually goes into your bloodstream and creates uric acid crystals in the blood. What do uric acid crystals cause? Gout. They cause arthritis. They wreak havoc on the body. Big bodybuilders, all of a sudden they'll start having joint pain in their 30s. It's because they've consumed so much protein that their body can no longer fully break down that protein. And so it's going into the bloodstream. So all of these diseases or these symptoms later on in life could be caused by not fully breaking down your food. So what are some solutions to conserve your pancreatic enzymes? Number one, add fresh and living. Sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and mute this really quick. Add fresh and living foods into your diet. Okay, that'll help conserve pancreatic enzymes. Another thing you can do is actually take a dehydrated plant-based enzyme with every meal. I'm going to give you an example of what those enzymes do. I'm going to use a pudding, a snack pack pudding. This one thing has changed my family's life. My husband has had ulcerative colitis, UC, since I've known him, since he was 23 years old. And he was having trouble breaking down milks. He was having trouble breaking down sugars. He knew every time he ate sugar, he was irritated. And he just ignored it for years and years and years. And then he got sick. He went on an antibiotic, which kills the good bacteria in your gut, and it flipped. And now we've been battling. First, he was on medicine, and it was going nowhere. It was getting stronger, 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 and it wasn't fixing anything. It was just covering up symptoms. And now we started a natural. He's 100% off remedies. We have him almost all contained. If he has a flare-up, he knows exactly what he needs to do to get back into order, but at least he's not putting chemicals in his body. So why am I using Snack Pack for this demo? Number one, if you've ever eaten pudding, you know that I can turn this upside down and it's going to stay in the container, right? It is, it's pretty processed, okay? Now, if you eat this into your mouth, imagine what your body has to do to break this down fully, okay? The other reason I use snack pack pudding is because it's got a lot of different stuff in it. So it's got sugars, it's got fats, it's got carbs, it's got dairy in it, so it's got some proteins in there. So it's got almost everything that we would eat in a full balanced meal. And I want to show you, because I'm going to use a full spectrum plant enzyme. This particular one has a little probiotic and prebiotic in it as well. And let me see if I can use this little book as a table here. But I'm going to show you as I dump this plant-based enzyme in the pudding, what it's going to do. Now, by the way, you can open this up. Has anybody ever suffered from acid reflux or indigestion or anything like that? That is a signal to your body that you are starting to not fully have the gut health that you need to break down food, right? So something's going on down there that's not fully breaking down. So I'm just gonna stir this in, and I'm gonna just sit it here and kind of let it go to work. But if you ever have had indigestion or acid reflux, you can actually, instead of taking an antacid, a Tums, a Prilosec, which actually does the opposite. It stops digestion. Over time, it's just gonna add up in your stomach and cause all kinds of problems. So you can actually open one of these capsules, pour it in your mouth, put a little water in, and it will stop that indigestion. We help people all the time get off their Prilosec or stop keeping Tums in their purse, because they can fully break down their food. How many of you have pets that are now getting the same diseases as humans? We have dogs walking around with arthritis and cancer and diabetes, blood sugar problems. And guess what? We process all animal food. Now here's where the point where I want to take you back to nature. An animal, wild animal in the wild is going to eat fresh and living plants, and they're going to eat live creatures. Those creatures and those fresh and living plants are packed with enzymes and nutrients. And that's how animals process their food. Well, now we process, we cook, we can all of our animal food. So our animals can barely break down their food over time. And that's why you have so many animals getting the same diseases as humans as well. So in just about a minute in here, and by the way, I also opened this up and put it on my 2-year-old's food. She loves yogurt, and kids develop in their pancreas, they have the most lactase possible, but after the age of 2 or 3, our body actually doesn't produce any more enzymes that break down milk, right? We're not meant to drink milk our whole life. Most animals wean off milk by the age of 2. We are the only crazy mammals that go out and now continue drinking milk, and not only human milk, right, from moms, we now drink animal milk, and it's in our cheese and it's in our daily diet. So if someone's drinking milk and you want to help conserve those pancreatic enzymes, you can use this as well. So I put it on my 2-year-old's food. I'll just show you this, what I did. It just fully liquefied in a couple minutes, this pudding. Now, I use chocolate pudding, but this will not make you run to the restroom, okay? But it's gonna make you very regular, but it's not gonna be urgent. And if you're not regular, if you eat, and I met someone that sometimes wouldn't go for 3, 4, or 5 days. If you're not pooping, that food's in your body and it's causing havoc in that body. It can become toxic, seep through the walls of the intestines and get into the gut. Most of America suffers from something called leaky gut. And it's because we're not fully breaking down our food, so it's seeping out. So you have people that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're like, man, I'm eating better than I've ever eaten before, and I'm still gaining weight. Why is that? Because they're not fully breaking down and eliminating their food. We are eating 3 times a day. We should be pooping 3 times a day. That's the way it should work. And so what I noticed almost immediately when I started taking these enzymes, within a week, I was really regular. I was going a couple times a day. I noticed that my stomach felt flatter. What I really noticed is that I actually got energy from my foods instead of eating and then wanting to take a nap, right? How many of you eat your lunch and then you want to go to sleep? It's because your body is shutting down to try to digest that food. So that's a little bit about gut health. Enzymes is so key. Taken right with food or right before your food, you can eliminate problems that are going to come in the future for not fully breaking down food groups. You can read about enzymes. The study of enzymes has been around since the 1940s. However, no one talks about it. We wish that we could go on commercials on TV and talk about the therapy that enzymes can do, how when taking on an empty stomach, it can clean your blood. In fact, do we have any testimonies on here? I think I talked to Lori, did I talk to you earlier? Were you able to jump on? Can you tell us really quick what enzymes did for you?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Well, last February, I'll keep it very simple. I'm 64 years old and I have suffered with high cholesterol, LDL and HDL levels always being out of whack all of my life. And I have been on multiple statin drugs in the past, in which I was always taken off because I would have very obvious symptoms, including statin dementia. So with that, I went on these products and I had my lab work done last February, like I said, and it came back at 354, my cholesterol levels. 5 months later, they rechecked my levels and they had dropped to 285, in which I was so excited because never in my life have I ever been able to do that. And actually, I'm supposed to have my lab works done again next week, so I'm really excited because I know they've gone down, and I'm so thankful for these products because they've seriously changed my health also in other ways that I won't go on into right now because I'll take too much time.
Thank you, Lori. And Lori had this significant change in her health. She's now one of our biggest voices in the country on bringing this education to the masses. And I think maybe we have time for one more. Does anybody else have been on our enzymes and have a very quick testimony they want to share on what the enzymes have done to you or your spouse?
Crystal, this is Sandra.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi. I've been on the products for probably a little over a year now. And when I first started, I had terrible joint pain in my hands. And after about 3 months, I realized that it was lessening and lessening. Now I know that it was because my body didn't break down protein. I have no joint pain in my hands any longer. So it is definitely something that if you struggle with any joint pain, something that will help you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sandra. Sandra's out of Tucson, Arizona. She's one of our voices, very well known by the formulators of the product. They love her. So I'm going to talk about our next subject because I talk about enzymes all day long, but anything therapeutic, you can take on an empty stomach or you can take with food. We also recommend adding raw fruits and vegetables to our diet. You guys, people are catching on. That's why when people get sick, they go to extreme measures. They go on a raw diet. They go juicing. Have you heard of someone that's juicing and all of a sudden their symptoms were gone? It's because what are juices packed with? They're packed with nutrients and they're packed with fresh and living enzymes. And that's what's helping clean. And since they juice it, their body doesn't have to spend any energy digesting it. So it can actually spend energy healing. These things, enzymes are incredible. It's the life force of what we have. So really, really important that anyone that eats processed or cooked food at least understands the value of fresh and living enzymes. The second thing I want to talk about tonight, you guys, is something that I recently dove into the science of. I do not have a medical background. I actually have an engineering background. I'm kind of a science nerd, which this fits right hand in hand, but I've never, ever, ever in my life done something more impactful than what we're doing now. And very recently, I dove in and learned about what is the deal with CBD, right? You can call it medical marijuana, you call it cannabis, but what's going on in this world? Why are people pushing so much to get this plant out there to the masses? Why do people believe so much? Why, when Denver opened up the legalization, did people flock and move their families to Denver to help heal their kids? Why is this? It's because of this plant, the cannabis plant, we were able to discover a system that we didn't know about called the endocannabinoid system. They named the system after the plant because that's what led to the discovery. And when they shut down the research of the plant in the United States, we have to thank Israel for stepping up and discovering why our bodies react so well to CBD or cannabis. And it's because we have this endocannabinoid system in our body that's these receptors, at the cellular level, these receptors that help all of the other systems communicate. So it's kind of the lead. And I want to read you an expert from a CBD book of research. It says, the big picture, the discovery of the endocannabinoid system is the single most important scientific medical discovery since the recognition of sterile surgical technique. As our knowledge expands, we are coming to realize that the endocannabinoid system is a master control system of virtually all physiology. Dr. David B. Allen. The endocannabinoid system is an extensive network of neurons, neural pathways, receptors, cells, molecules, and enzymes that work tirelessly throughout your body to maintain a state of homeostasis, a stable internal environment despite the fluctuations in the external environment. The endocannabinoid system is essential to life's basic processes by relaying messages that affect how we relax, eat, sleep, forget, and protect. As noted by the Italian researcher Vincent Di Marzo, research director at the Institute of Biomolecular Chemistry of the National Research Council and editor of several books on cannabinoids. So in other words, it's responsible for two major functions in the body: modulating pleasure, energy, and well-being while restoring bodily balance in the face of external stressors, whether those stressors be physical, emotional, or psychological. The total effect of the endocannabinoid system is to regulate homeostasis and prevent disease and aging. One more thing I want to read you. Let's explain by looking at one specific bodily system, the immune system. Say your body is faced with a virus or a bacterial invader. Your immune system will kick on like a furnace to produce the fever needed to fry the invader. This is why fevers aren't that bad. Some people get a minor fever and take a medicine to bring down the fever. The fever is kicked on to help kill what's going on in your body. Now, it's a problem if the fever goes too high or sticks around, but typically a fever you want, right? I went off on a tangent there. When the job is done, when the fever's job is done, the endocannabinoid system signals the immune system to cool down and restore homeostasis. But if the feedback loop is out of control, if the immune system overreacts to stress or makes its own body a foreign invader, this is where we develop autoimmune diseases or inflammatory disorders. Inflammation. So basically what it's saying is these receptors throughout their body, they're going to balance our hormonal system, our endocrine system, how many thyroid problems do we have right now in the United States, our digestive system, our immune system. That endocannabinoid receptors balance it all and is a communication link in between. Now, our bodies naturally create what we call CBDs that feed this endocannabinoid system, these receptors. But it just so happens that the cannabis plant has a high concentration of CBDs, including THC is another cannabidiol, right, or cannabinoid. So CBD, THC, now THC is the cannabinoid that gets you high, right? However, it does have some medicinal value. But CBD is mostly the medicinal value. We're going to talk about CBD tonight. But our bodies naturally create these CBDs, and what really helps to create that is actually fats. Fatty omega acids, right? Omega fatty acids help create those CBDs in our body to feed the receptors. But again, because of our environment, because of our food, because of our stress, our bodies are malnourished, not only in some essential vitamins and minerals, but also CBDs. Our bodies are starving of CBDs. And so when we take this plant, whether it's topically, whether it's internally, we actually fill these receptors, allowing that communication system to work. And what's crazy about cannabis is every person usually feels something different. Although there's some really good results, People that may have had anxiety or depression all of a sudden will level out. People that have had massive inflammation or pain in certain areas, all of a sudden the endocannabinoid system, because it triggers the nervous system, will say, we need to bring that inflammation down. Or we need, if you stub your toe, it'll say, we want you to feel that less. It actually protects your body, the endocannabinoid system does. So the CBD is very adaptive depending on what the person needs. There's also studies that CBDs actually kill cancer cells. So why am I talking about CBD? I am very passionate about this plant, number one, and I'm also worried that people are going to ruin this beautiful plant. Every pharmaceutical drug started out as a plant, and then people have taken it, they've pulled it apart, they've recreated it synthetic. There's already people creating synthetic CBDs. Man, why would you do man-made CBDs when we have a beautiful plant that's got them packed in it? But this is what we do, right? We take this plant. Aspirin was originally a plant, right? And so I'm very big on preserving this plant. So there's a product called Soothe. It's a CBD fluid that I highly, highly recommend if you're interested in learning more about CBD or actually taking CBD. The reason I like Soothe is because it's a fluid. Number one, it's not an oil. So you only need 2 drops, whereas an oil, your body's mostly water, right? And as we know, if we put oil in water, they don't mix. So if you take a CBD oil, your body actually, studies have shown, will you feel something? Are there medicinal value? Probably, right? But you're only absorbing about 6 to 10% of it. So you end up having to take a bunch more because you're only absorbing a certain amount. The other thing is I just don't like the idea of having so much oil in my body that has to be processed by the liver. So this CBD fluid is 100% plant, no additives. And the reason we do a whole flower cannabis plant, the THC level, by the way, the high factor level is so minor in this plant. It's under the legal limit. It is a very small trace, enough to give our body what it needs, but not enough you will not feel it, right? And I had a doctor in Tucson that actually had a question about someone passing a drug test. And so he took 20 doses a day. You only need 2. He took 20 doses a day for like 20 days and went in and took a drug test. He still came out negative. It's just such a small trace of THC, but we believe in the whole plant, the terpenes in there. This cannabis plant actually has over 100 cannabinoids in it, and we're only discovering the medicinal value of a couple of them right now. And so, but we know there's medicinal value in all of them. So why not take the whole plant and take it, extract it to a fluid. It's almost a juice form. And you can put a couple drops in your mouth. You can put it topically. We've seen incredible testimonies with this. I don't know, Lauren, I know you're on. I'd love you to give a testimony of what your neighbor experienced on CBD, if you don't mind. I can't hear you. Hold on.
Are you asking me, Lauren?
Yes, Lauren.
Hi. I actually had a recent one, actually, in addition to Mariselda. Mariselda was somebody I was sharing about the plant with, and she was sitting and just kind of leaning over, holding her back, and she's saying, my back really, really hurts. And I said, well, why don't you just try a couple of the drops? And so we're talking about the business because she was interested in CBD for her father-in-law, not for herself. And so about 10 minutes later, she's like, holy crap, my back's not hurting anymore. She's like, it's about 90% gone on one side, and then totally gone on the other. So I said, well, why don't you just take a drop and rub it on the side where it's not totally gone? And she's like, oh my God. She just jumps out of her chair and starts doing like calisthenics. And she's like, I don't feel anything. So I had told her that there was a meeting going on, and she's like, I don't care what it is, let's go. We're going. I need to find out about this. So Mariselda is now one of our new associates here.
She's a voice that we have in our company, which is amazing. Okay, so please, now some people will experience results that quick, by the way, and some people it may take a month or 2 months. I was with someone in Denver. It took him almost 3 months to totally get rid of some inflammation that he's had for 4 years. which only makes sense to me. If you've got something, if you've got a digestive issue and you're starting enzymes, you know, give it about a month for every year you've had the issue so that your body can adapt and try to reverse that. That's just kind of a rule of thumb that we go by. So I'm going to end with this. If you have heard something tonight, we have, we only probably endorse about 6 products. We believe in nutrients. We believe in brain food. We obviously believe in enzymes. We believe in CBD. We have another specific enzyme for athletes. And then we actually have a protein product as well. That's kind of our product line that we believe in. But if you heard anything tonight that resonated with you or that you want more information on, please get back to the person that invited you on this call and understand the difference in products. Not all products are created equal, so we want to make sure we get as much information, especially CBD. But I also want to tell you this. We have always known that word of mouth and testimonies is what sells products. And I would be doing you an incredible disservice if I didn't also tell you about our company. You've already heard from a few people that have become part of our company. We are part of a direct sales company. We believe in education first. Don't forget, and we must always make sure that we're doing education first. We want to bring value. We want to change someone's life first. However, we also know that financial stress is a big factor on health. And so if you love our products, if you love what we're doing, if you believe in natural remedies and you want to be part of our mission, we compensate very well. We compensate for referring out any products, for doing any education, which leads people to healing. But we also have a Jeep stipend. So we have a lot of people on the line that have qualified for a new car. And we do that at a very minimal position in our company. It's actually the first position in the company. Our goal is to help people eliminate car payments. If we can eliminate their car payment, then they can spend money on healing products. Does that make sense? If I can take someone's car payment away or put an extra $600, $300 in their pocket, then they can actually take that and focus on buying organic. Buying organic is huge. We'll teach you all that, right? Focus on plant enzyme. Focus on some fresh and living foods that may be more expensive for you to shop. So our goal is to help you financially. You can create an income by referring out any of our products, and you can create an income by becoming a trainer as well. Totally up to you what you want to do. We can give you another video that can explain the compensation plan. But we are in a point right now where we are growing faster than we've ever grown before, which means we are touching more lives. And when you have a compensation plan that rewards your voices and you have products that actually create results, you have a very, very unique position. Our company is called thru. We've been around for 5.5 years, but we are just getting started. We're in a position where we've been around, we've doubled the last 6 months, which means we are in what's called the accumulation phase before we hit critical mass. And so if you are looking for an opportunity to not only bless other people, but to be blessed yourself financially, please check out our company and check out our compensation plan, and we can talk to you more about that on another call. So thank you guys for jumping on. Our CBD website is breezopure.com. Our health products is thru.com/health. That'll talk to you all about the enzymes. Whoever invited you on this call will get back to you. They're going to ask you what you're the most interested in. They're going to add you to a community page called Health Wealth Community where you can do the research on your own. And thank you again for being on tonight. And I will go ahead and end the recording, but I will answer some questions for you if you have any.